Let's delve into Microsoft's big black box and see what it can offer you and your buddies.
This is the end!
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 Xbox multiplayer games. For this list, we're taking a look at titles that were best when played with others, whether they be online or in your living room. These games excelled by either bringing new features to multiplayer gaming or greatly improved what was already out there.
Land. Be careful.
Attack that bomber!
Number 10, Mech Assault. As one of the very first Xbox Live titles, it was vital that this battle mech game made a good first impression. It did precisely that by running seamlessly on the new service, and even though some thought it wasn't too faithful to the genre, the fast-paced gameplay and all-out carnage you could cause were ideal for new gamers taking their first steps in online gaming. There were a couple of kinks in the online interface, but apart from that, it was the perfect start to a whole new era for the company and players alike. Number 9, Jet Set Radio Future. Another game that was released near the start of the Xbox's lifespan. This rollerblading title eventually came bundled with the console. It was one hell of a game to get, as its unique tone, easy accessibility, and brilliant level design made it one that was worth buying on its own. The 5 multiplayer modes added even more depth, and though not quite as good as the single player, it was a great way to show off your new console to your pals. Number 8, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. It seemed that with every iteration of this skateboarding franchise, small but definite improvements were made in a series that had brushes with perfection. Even though this game lacked Xbox Live, it still received rave reviews as one of the best of its kind. The usual multiplayer modes of Trick Attack, Graffiti, and King of the Hill returned, and were exceptional enough to ensure that the omission of online play didn't ruin the game. It was the last Pro Skater title until 2015, and considering how broken the new one was, we should be happy that this game was so damn good. Number 7, Soul Calibur 2. The first Soul Calibur game went rather under the radar, as its limited release on the Dreamcast prevented the fighting game from reaching a wider audience. There was no such problem for the sequel, however, as it launched on a variety of consoles, allowing millions of gamers to experience the wonderfully detailed arenas and flowing fight choreography for the first time. It was probably the best 3D fighting game at the time, and its well-balanced characters put more emphasis on your abilities as a player. Whether you chose Taki or Nightmare, it's ultimately down to a test of skill between you and your opponent. Number 6, SSX 3. When first looking down the mountain, you might be intimidated by all the different ways you can descend, whether that be in piste events or in the ungroomed off-the-cuff backcountry tracks. However, once you realize that you're playing the best snowboarding game ever, you'll be thankful that you have so much to unlock and complete. Everything in the single player is available in split screen, and you'll be able to plunge hours into fully exploring the expertly animated environments. With endlessly customizable tracks, you won't even notice that you can't go online. Number 5, TimeSplitters, Future Perfect. An often forgotten gem that was immensely enjoyed by those that got to play it, TimeSplitters lived a comfortable, if humble, existence in the shadow of Halo and other better-known titles. Single-player, co-op, split-screen, and online play are all available in this shooter, one that's drawn comparisons with GoldenEye, and for good reason, as developer Free Radical Design were made up of former Rare employees. Here you could design your own levels and share them online with thousands of others who loved Virus Mode just as much as you did. Its comedic tone may have prevented it from being taken too seriously by some, but for the regular gamer, it was a refreshing change of pace. Number 4. Star Wars Battlefront 2. As a way of experiencing the Star Wars universe firsthand, this shooter had no equal. You were able to shoot stormtroopers or fly in a spaceship in environments that are familiar yet feel like a brand new experience.
Watch your tail!
Up to 32 players could join huge online battles for unrivaled carnage on places like Endor, Geonosis, or even the skies above Coruscant. With so many players in online games, there was the odd problem with lag, but it managed to continue a legacy that made fans and gamers desperate for a new installment in the series for over a decade. Number 3. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell: Chaos Theory. This stealth title is graphically one of the darkest games ever, figuratively and literally, but there is beauty in that darkness. The visuals themselves are advanced for the era, but it's the co-op gameplay that made it one of the best on the console for the time. Some map elements can only be completed with 2 players, and if you make too much real-life noise, in-game enemies will suddenly be all over you. Even if your buddy loves to go in guns blazing and you like to hide in the shadows, together you can pull off takedowns worthy of the Tom Clancy name. Number 2. Burnout 3: Takedown. Realism can take a backseat when arcade racing is this enthralling. Even today, few racers can create such a sense of speed, but it's the takedown mechanic that changed the racing landscape forever. Regardless of whether you like racers or not, crashing into your friends and enjoying their destruction in slow motion is a universally satisfying experience. It might almost be best described as a realistic-looking kart racer, but here instead your weapons of choice are buses, trucks, and anything else that you can ram your buddies into. Before we reveal our top pick, let's have a look at some honorable mentions. Number 1. Halo 2. Come on, were you expecting anything else? I mean, the new features that this sequel included became the foundation of one of the most successful Xbox Live games ever. Dual wielding and vehicle boarding were introduced, alongside new maps that rivaled those of Combat Evolved, and by 2007, avid gamers had logged over 700 million hours of playtime. Its appeal even carried over to the next generation of consoles. When the servers were meant to close in 2010, 51 dedicated gamers refused to have their final match, and for a whole month would not turn off their consoles on the definitive Xbox Live title. Do you agree with our list?
Silence! I can change my own destiny.
Which Xbox game was your favorite multiplayer experience? For more top 10s that are best enjoyed with friends, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.